to submit, as it were, to that superior idea, because that superior idea will make us as a team better. Remember, it takes a team to win a competition, not an individual. Even individual sports like lawn tennis, table tennis, they have a team behind them who also suggest ideas. So you must, so it comes down to listening, understanding their perspective, they understanding your own perspective, and then seeking and choosing the best option. Sometimes the best option will be a blend of your perspective and their own perspective. Other times you have to just submit. And truth be told, if they see that yours is better, however, there are instances where, for whatever reason, they may not just want to go with you, even though yours is better. Don't force it at that time. Don't force it. Be patient. Go through that process, then debrief later and do better going forward. Kemi, does that make sense? Hello, Kemi?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Good.
Thank you very much.
Question?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I think we should take one question from the chat, from the chat, and then our guest speaker is waiting. Is time bound. Our second guest speaker is in already. So just take one question, Victor, from the chat, so that we can wrap up your session. Thank you very much. Hope you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you.
I can hear you. What's one agile thinking habit you wish every campus leader has? It's really about taking the initiative, identifying opportunities to add value. Like I said before, reading the room, identifying the signals, take your eyes off the noise. There's so much noise out there. Focus on the signals. Signals, like I said, are opportunities for you to value, to make a difference, to do better, to learn. So that habit really, to be able to know, separate noise from signal, separate what distracts from what improves. That habit is critical for a campus team lead. Thank you, Treasure, for that question. And I hope that answer works for you. In addition to all we have learned today, if you put it all together.
Wow. Thank you so much. We are very, very grateful. If not because of the time, I'm very, very sure we'll have loved to have you here with us and answer many questions. We pray that when we invite you again, you will be gracious to us, and then have time. Probably we devote a whole session for you to share your experience, and then people will be able to learn from you. Thank you so much, and we will actually be glad that you also help us to support in terms of the boot camp we are having on June 6th, on June 5 to 6 at the University of Ibadan. You can have EcoBank to come and exhibit their products. It will be wonderful. Hello, Victor, can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear, fully here. Good.
Yes.
And
so we're very glad. Yes, because we are bringing young people to University of Ibadan, not just for University of Ibadan alone, but other people. I think somebody is Ebube Chidia or Polore. Can you share the flyer? We are inviting young people, and we are having African Development Bank teams coming to share about scholarship, about skill, about funding opportunity for SMA. So it will be good, at least for us to also compensate you. EcoBank may not pay anything, but we'll be very glad to have you to send them to come and exhibit. Thank you so much. We are very, very grateful.
Thank you very much, Dr. Pelumi. I'll engage you further on that, and then let's see how we can make it work. I think that's a great opportunity. I'll engage you further.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much. Do we have Ebubechi on the
Thank
call?
you.
Ebubechi, can you confirm that you are there? Ebubechi from University of Ibadan.
Yes, good morning, sir. I'm here.
Okay, good. Thank you very much for being here. Ebubechi from University of Ibadan, one of our team leader. So Ebubechi is the one that will read the citation of our next guest speaker. Our next guest speaker is already in, and Ebubechi, check your WhatsApp and then read the citation of Mr. Ade Shokoya. Mr. Ade Shokoya is a mentor of young people. He's our mentor here at African Young Brains, and he is highly sought for guest speaker. Ebubechi, over to you.
Okay, good morning, everyone. This is the citation of Mr. Ade Shokoya. Ade Shokoya is an AI strategy and training consultant who helps young professionals and SMEs turn AI, data, and machine learning into practical career and business advantage. Drawing on over 20 years experience in digital and agile transformation, he has trained thousands of people globally to use technology in a way that is ethical, responsible, and commercially smart. In this session, Ade will walk through what world-class really means in AI and data, the core skills global employers and clients are looking for, and clear practical steps you can take now to build a future-proof career and create opportunities at home and across the continent. Please enjoy the session and welcome Dr. Ade Shokoya.
You are welcome. I think we should welcome him.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Femi. Thank you for inviting me here, and thank you very much for that introduction. So, good morning, everybody. I trust everybody is well. So today, we're also going to demonstrate a little bit of agility. So rather than me talking about the data analysis side of things, what I want to do is to focus on your specific role as campus leads. I believe that is a very powerful leadership role. By the way, first of all, let me know you can see the screen by giving me a thumbs up. Let me know if you can see the screen. Okay, great. So you can see the deck. At different points, I'm switching. Hello? Okay, no problem. Thank you. Okay. And so, like I said, today, what I want to do is focus on giving you some real value. So as you're stepping into these roles, I do believe that these roles are very important, as I'm sure you recognize too. These are leadership roles. And so as leaders, what I want to do is to give you some tools and tips that will help you to execute that role a lot better. Yeah. And in addition to everything that you are dealing with. Is that okay? So just a little bit about myself, Ade Shokoya. I am based in the UK. I work with global companies to help them with digital transformation and change management. I work across multiple industries, so that's banking, insurance, manufacturing, retail, telecoms, just to name a few. And my passion is about helping professionals, young professionals, and students like yourself to be able to adapt and use AI responsibly, but in practical ways that are going to help you to achieve your outcomes. Now, what we heard there was some really great tips from Victor, who I believe has dropped off. If we just think about that within the context of AI. So put a thumbs up if you recognize that AI is moving fast. So it's a very fast moving, impactful technology. Yeah. So that means that when you are looking at using this within your specific roles, and maybe you may choose to take it on board as something that you provide as an additional learning aspect to those that you are leading, understand that things are moving fast. So don't worry about perfection. The key is to get stuck in. And because things are moving fast, one of the other key agile principles which you've learned is about adaptability. So when we understand that things are changing very quickly, we learn to adapt. Okay. And Nigeria is a very dynamic environment. Things are changing constantly. Even when you understand the ground, what's happening, things can just happen very quickly. It's the same everywhere around the world. And so we look at ways that you can use AI tools to support you in doing that. Okay. Because the reality is, in fast moving times, it's not the people who have the best plans who succeed, it's those who can adapt the fastest. So what does that look like in the AI era? Well, you have all been selected for this opportunity amongst wider candidates, which says a lot about who you are. So first of all, let me start off by actually recognizing and commending all of you for getting to this point. And so that means you have initiative and creativity. So you're going to bring your own ideas and your creativity to the situation. And of course, sometimes we need guidance and advice about how we might go about reaching those ideas. And I'll show you how to use that, because this is where the technology will come in. Again, I'm assuming that alongside your campus lead duties, you may have your own courses that you are studying for. You may have your own personal life that you need to also pay attention to. And so therefore, this technology will support you with taking away a lot of the additional work that might be associated with this type of role. In fact, it will help and guide you forward. And then we're going to look at how AI in this instance is going to help you to become much more agile in what you do. Okay. And you're not going to need big budgets for this. The tools that I'm going to show you today, they're going to be free tools that you are going to be able to freely access to be able to execute what you need to do. So the first tool I'm going to show you, and I believe some of you may be aware of it. In fact, in the chat, type in a 1 if you are familiar with Notebook LM, and type in a 2, yeah, if you haven't come across it yet. Doesn't matter, don't worry, we're going to go through it all together, but that will just help me to gauge. So do that now. Okay, again, a couple of 2s in there. 2s, 2s, 2s. Okay, all right. So then let me first of all, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to give you this link. Notebook LM is an agentic research tool that comes from Google. Okay, it's based on the Gemini model. So you can go in there and you can access it. You can access it for free. Now, I'm going to show you exactly how to use this tool, what you can do with this tool. So bear with me. Now, I can add a number of sources to here. So in this instance, again, I've changed. Okay, I see that the screen's not changing. So bear with me. I'm going to change so that you can see what I'm doing. Awesome. Okay, let me know. Can you see that right there? So what I'm going to do is I am first of all going to upload a document. So I'm uploading that document there. The document that you see that I've just uploaded is a dummy document that I've created, but I am assuming that potentially for your role, you're going to have lots of documents. As you can see, what it does is a comprehensive framework about what a campus lead type role might look like. Again, just for the purpose of this demo, I have put this together. You are most likely going to get a set of documents or information that you can use, that you're going to need to use in order to be able to fulfill your specific role. Okay. So there you go. It's got all of that information in there. So, yes, Gon, do you have a question? Okay, awesome.
No,
Great
sorry,
stuff.
that was a mistake.
That was a mistake, no problem. I'm going to leave it. Don't worry, at the end, I'm going to give you the opportunity, everybody the opportunity to ask questions. Let me just quickly do one thing and pull up some information here. 1 second. One second. All right. Okay, going back to here. There you go, right? So again, you can use this tool for anything. So if you're doing research, even in your education and your studies, you can use this tool for anything. Here, I've just uploaded it. And in fact, what I'm going to do now is ask it to find me some additional websites about campus team leadership in Nigerian universities. Just to walk you through what this tool is. So if you've been using, how many of you by show of hands have been using tools like ChatGTP, Gemini, or these other tools? Okay, great, awesome. So you're familiar, right? Now, as you know, when we use those tools, what they're called large language models, which basically means that when you are using them, they are drawing from multiple sources of information that may be available on the internet and that they've been trained on. Part of the problem with that is that when we ask it a question, it will give us a generic response. And sometimes it will give us hallucinations. One of the key aspects about Notebook LM is you control the sources. So in effect, it's like a localized large language model. So what you're going to see is the responses I'm going to get will only come from the sources that I've provided. Now, in this instance, you saw me upload a document. You can upload documents. Again, start thinking about this even beyond your role as campus leaders. Start thinking about some of the courses that you're studying, some of the information that you might need to understand, some of the concepts. Here, I'm just showing you a demo. So I've uploaded that. I've also done a fast research to ask it to go away and find me sources. Usually I will decide on the sources, but again, let's just use this for input purposes. On the paid plan, which I've got, you can have up to 300. On the free plan, you can have, I think, about 50 sources, which is more than enough, okay? And then it's giving me a summary around this. Now, what I'm also going to do is I am going to do a couple of things at the same time, and then I will come back and show you exactly what those things are doing. So bear with me. This thing just go now. Okay. I am going to go over here and I am going to take that over here. Right, so I'm going to go for an audio overview. So basically, I'm going to ask it to do this. Bear with me, my document has just disappeared out of the way. Right, so I'm just going to tell it this. And then give it a focus. In a moment, you see what I'm doing. So here, what I'm doing is I'm going to create an audio overview. So it's going to go through that information and give it back to me in a different format. You'll see what I mean shortly. I'm also going to tell it one other thing. I'm going to ask it to focus on. So first of all, I'm asking focus on habits, behaviors, and daily actions that will set me apart from marriage. To give me specific examples where possible. Again, don't worry about all of this. I'm just doing this to show you some examples. Okay. And then I'll explain to you exactly what's doing. I'm also going to ask it to create me a slide deck, a presentation deck as well. And I'm going to ask it to create me a video. I'm going to, at the same time, ask it to give me an infographic. And at the same time, I'm going to ask it to give me a form of a report. I will explain exactly what's happening. Let me just quickly open and show me that. So I'm going to ask it to give me a strategic operational report. So let me explain just what's happened. So as you can see, these are all the sources. So it's done a summary here. And basically what I am going to do now is I can now query these specific, I can now run some queries on it, which are going to help me to find the information that I need. Because basically what's happening here is I'm only going to get the information back based on the sources provided. So what I'm going to say is, first of all, give me 5 practical tips for becoming a high-performing, high-impact campus team lead. Focus on the habits, behaviors, and daily actions that will set me apart from an average lead. Give me specific examples where possible. As you see, I've clicked on that. Now, what this tool is doing is going to research all of these different sources, and then from that, it's going to extract a response to my question. So the benefits here means that when you have lots of information, which you will, maybe it's research papers, maybe it's whatever that might be, you're going to need to be able to get through that information very fast. So as you can see, what it's done is it's given me the answers based on all the information that it's gone through from these different sources I have provided it. Again, I should have said, I can upload files, I can upload websites or YouTube links so I can get it to read or watch videos for me and pull the information, key insights out. I can use my Google Drive, or I can use copy and paste text, okay? You've seen examples. Now let's have a look at what it's given. It's given some examples of how to become a high-performing, high-impact campus team lead, which is going to be useful for all of you. So it's telling us, hey, just adding students to a WhatsApp or Telegram group. They go beyond that, right? They talk about, they give us a daily, weekly action, giving you ideas of what you can do to keep your community vibrant, engaged. It's also telling us how we demonstrate proactivity. So it's giving us some answers against local bottlenecks, unreliable power. So it's also talking about real life issues because it's based on up-to-date information and giving us actions. And so I won't go through all of it, but you can see it's answered and given us 5 practical tips that you can do that will help you to become much more high performing. Okay, so one of the key things as well is this: you see a number against each piece of response. The key thing, and again, think about this when you're doing research, is one of the issues with other tools is sometimes you're going to get hallucinations. So answers that will come back, which is not based on any source. It's the AI making things up. This helps to address it because when you click on the numbers next to it, it shows you, oh, here's exactly where I got that information from. So you can go away and you can verify it and you can have a lot more confidence. Okay, see it there. You can see it for all of that. All right. And I could go on asking it more questions, prompting it for the purpose of getting more output. Now you see over here, these are still generating. I'll show you a couple of things that it's created. First, from the sources, it's created a mind map. Again, think about your studies. Think about some of the things you may need to execute as a lead, a campus lead. And so from all of those sources, it's now turned it into a mind map, which I can then go through to say, okay, let me look at campus leadership framework. It's giving me some ideas. And each time I click on it, it will narrow down to, and then I can focus on, okay, what specific information out of all of this information am I interested right now? Okay, so I might say, oh, community architecture. Once I click on that, again, anything that you click on here would then cause it to requery the sources you've given and give you a response. Okay, so you can see that's what it's doing right now based on brand advocacy and marketing. Then also here is the document that I've created. So I created the document for it, which is given a strategic operational framework. Again, in the context of you as a campus team lead, this will help you to be able to extract that information and to build a robust community or to help you in your role. And again, we can use that as input to other things. Now, the other items that I'm showing you are going to take a little bit longer, but luckily I'd already created this before. So let's go over and show you a couple of the other outputs that we got from it. So that one isn't just another document. But what I was also generating, what you saw there, was a slide deck. So again, you can, from your sources that you've created and put in, we have got a slide deck. It's created a slide deck for you. In this instance, it's around how to be a top 1% campus lead. You can again choose your topic, and you can see it's giving you that information. You can format it however you want as an output. I've also asked it to create a video. So here's a video that it's created, and hopefully let me know if you can hear the sound.
We can't hear the sound, sir.
You can't? Okay, let me quickly do that again. 1 second.
Establishing real brand ubiquity requires an approach that operates on a hyperlocal level. Organizations frequently attempt to penetrate this market using standard top-down digital marketing frameworks, which bounce off 3 distinct environmental shields surrounding the campus hub. The first shield is...
Can everybody hear the sound? Give me a thumbs up if you can hear the sound.
Yes, perfectly.
Okay, cool. So that's just the video that's been created. And then also you have an interactive element. So again, if you're doing studying, you're doing research, this becomes a very powerful tool. So let me quickly get this to...
Right? Like between your sophomore class, imagine sitting down for like an entry-level tech interview, right?
Okay.
And instead of asking for your university GPA, the recruiter just slides a piece of paper across the desk and asks you to explain the 30-day user retention rate of a WhatsApp community you ran.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Right? Like between your sophomore classes.
So what it's done there is, again, it's taken your sources of information that we've provided it, and it's turned it into a podcast style engagement. So this is also a good way for you to be able to get some very quick tips, information, or again, if you're doing studying or research, to get some outputs. But let me also show you this. Now, maybe you're a bit like me. Sometimes you've got lots of information and all you're interested in is some key pieces of information. Again, watch what I'm going to do here.
Imagine sitting down for like an entry-level tech interview, right?
Okay.
And instead of asking for your university GPA, the recruiter, oh, hey, welcome. What's up?
Yeah, hi. Give me 3 tips on how I can become an effective campus lead on university and also still do well as a student.
Oh, wow. Welcome to the conversation. That is such a practical ground level question.
It really is. Balancing corporate expectations with a full course load is the ultimate test.
Okay, let's unpack this for you. Tip number 1, prioritize high touch physical onboarding.
Exactly. Don't just scam group chats. Use your phone's hotspot to help a peer sign up.
It sounds manual, but that one high quality user is worth 50 passive ones who delete the app.
Tip 2, build a subcommittee. You cannot do this alone and pass your exams.
Right. Recruit a design assistant and a community model.
Okay, so that's just showing you an example of how you can use this tool. Again, not just for your campus lead role, but for your specific studies. And then you can also engage and interact with the tool to be able to ask it questions around the sources, and you can get that back as audio that you can hear. So those are just some of the examples of a tool. You've got the link inside the chat. I've shown you different ways. You have other options in terms of how you can take your source data and turn it into different forms of output to support you with your specific outcomes. Okay, so that there was Notebook LM. Now what I'm going to do is so if you think, so the way that I'd say is you use Notebook LM to do your research, to get the understanding or to extract valuable information. And now what I'm going to do is just to move over into a tool called Claude. Again, what I'm going to do here, some of this you could potentially do in ChatGPT, you can do it in Gemini. But again, start thinking about how you will use these tools to support you in delivering a valuable service, recognizing that also it gives you an opportunity to grow in terms of the skills of leadership, and it enables you to be able to help other people to grow as well, because that's what good leaders do. And in that process, it will help you to also get recognized. Okay. All right. Let me open this. Bear with me 1 second. Okay. Bear with me. Right. Can you see this? Give me a thumbs up if you can see the new interface I've just put up here. Okay, great. So for some of you who may be familiar, this is Claude that we are looking at. Claude is a very powerful system. I'm not going to have the time to show you how powerful it is, but it is an agentic AI system, right? What we're going to do is just look at quickly how you could take the information that you've learned about what it takes to be a high-performing campus lead, to take some of the ideas it's been giving you, to then also, once you've got that understanding, you can come over into Claude or Gemini or ChatGPT and use these tools to help you to become much more effective. So let's see what I mean by that. I'm going to give it a prompt. So I'm going to say to it, 1 second, let me just copy and paste this over. And then give it, I'm a campus team leader at a Nigerian university. You might want to specify what specific university you're at to give a bit more context. I need to plan. Say again? Okay. At University of Ibadan. Thank you.
I hope I'm not partial.
Well, why not? University of Ibadan, of course. There you go. Hey, don't worry. All of you can do this. You can change it to whatever university you want. It's not a problem, eh? Right. I'm a campus team leader at University of Ibadan. I need to plan a tech meetup. Again, you can change that to whatever meetup you're planning to do. You can use these tools to actually research and find out what would be some good events for my campus. But again, I need to plan a tech meetup on campus in the next 2 weeks with a small budget and no corporate sponsor yet. Give me a step-by-step action plan I can start on today, including how to get the venue, promote it to students, and make sure people actually show up. And then we're going to get that to run. And then once it's done that, I could turn around and say, so again, what you can see is in the background, what it's doing, because the nature of Claude is activating. So it's looking at how it's going to best answer that question. Okay, so it's giving you some very clear guidelines on what you need to do. So say, hey, here's a 14-day action plan. It's giving you some ideas or suggestions of how you get it sorted. And then it's giving you one by one what you need to do. Again, for each one of these outputs, we could go in and ask it more questions and say, okay, how do I do that? So look what it's done, saying cheapest, fastest route because we don't have that much money, suggesting where we might go, faculty in technology. Obviously, we are on ground, so we will know how practical some of these things are not. Giving us some ideas of where we could potentially use for venues. Again, being on ground, we can know what we can and can't do. And it's just giving us some ideas on what tools we can use to set up. Okay? Step by step. Now what I'm going to say to it, okay, let's assume we've gone through it. We have refined it. We've got it to work. We're going to ask it to create a detailed brief. They can hand to designer, paste into Canva to promote a promotional flyer. Okay? Well, what we can do is do in two ways. I could ask it to do that. That can give me a detailed brief. Use dummy data for demo. So I'm just doing that for now. Just for the purpose of this. In chat, I get it to do that. Okay, so whilst it's going ahead and doing those things there. And then what I'm also, again, I might ask it a question like this, just as we get ready to wrap up. What you can see is at the moment, it's actually building out the flyer. So again, you could do this very easy in Gemini. Some of you chat GTP, it's the same thing. You can just go in there, give it the prompt, let it build the flyer for you. And then I'm going to give it one more, and then I'm going to open up the floor for some questions. Part of your role, as I'm sure you recognize, might be dealing with situations that are not always ideal. Okay. It might be a case of you've got team members who are not engaging in the process. So there you go. Tell me to quickly create a flyer. Still in the process of creating the rest of the flyer, but in effect, that's going to save lots of time, especially finance as well, right? So in effect, rather than creating the brief and having to go and take it to somebody and find somebody to do the work, etc., etc. As a campus lead, you can be using your AI tools to help you to create all of this. And I'm sure many of you are actually already doing things like this. Okay. So we see now it's just going to finish off building the flyer. Whilst it's doing that, I'm going to quickly just jump into this tool here. And then I am going to ask it again, whilst it's working in one area, finishing your job, I'm going to say, hey, let's say you got a challenge, right? A campus lead, one of your sub leads has missed 2 events in a row without a good reason. You need to address it, but don't want to damage the relationship or lose them for the team. Help me figure out how to approach this conversation and what to say. These are real situations, and you can use it in any area of life, right? So again, we're going to ask it to help us. So if you see what I'm doing here, not only am I using it as an assistant, I'm also using it as an advisor. Again, you can use it to help you in your role to be able to deal with specific challenges or issues as they pop up. It'll ask a series of questions. Again, I'm going to say demo. You would easily put in there, oh, this has happened, that has happened, whatever's happened. And it will be there, and it will ask you many questions. So as you can see, it will ask you questions that you'll get to answer, and then it'll be able to help you come up with the context. As you can see at the moment, it's creating those questions, answers, because it understands it's a demo. And you can do that as well. Okay. Let's go back to chat and see if it's finished creating that document for us. And there you go. But again, you can go in, create designs, take it into Canva, etc., etc. Right. So hopefully you see there's some examples of how you can start using some of these free AI tools in what you do in your role as a campus lead, but also to support you So again, just quickly went through it. Upload documents or sources to Notebook LM, query it based on what you want to know, use everyday language, and then use Claude to support you in your outputs. So in terms of creating your captions, your WhatsApp messaging, your strategy around being a campus lead, putting together events, how to run the events, etc. You can use a tool like Claude, ChatGTP, Gemini. Yeah. Then, yeah, you can also use it to help you to plan the brief, create the marketing materials, etc. And my encouragement would be, maybe as part of your role as campus team leads, and one of the events that you might want to is actually start sharing tools like this. The benefit of sharing tools like this as part of your leadership is, again, the AI era is changing the world, is having massive impact. But two, the more you are able to teach other people, the better you will get personally at using these tools. So that's it for today. I will leave the floor open for a few questions, and I hope that you got some ideas out of what you have seen so far.
Wow, wow. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I expect everyone to celebrate because you have learned one thing. One thing, very significant thing during this presentation. I'm waiting for you to appreciate.
I appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you so much, Ade, for this wonderful support and for exposing this to us. I can't thank you enough. You are with us at the University of Ibadan when we had our annual meetup in November last year, and
Yes,
you promised that anytime, anywhere, you are with African Young Brains. So I'm very, very grateful for your support.
Thank
I
you.
hope we are celebrating and appreciating our guest speaker. We'll give time for question, one or two. Can you raise up your hand if you have any question for Ade? Our last guest speaker is here with us, and it's going to be wow. It's going to be amazing. Don't drop off. In fact, on your own campus team lead WhatsApp, please drop a message there that they should join right now. They can still join and they can still get something even now. Please drop the message. So who is having a question for Adeto? I'm waiting for you to raise up your hand. Or you can unmute yourself so as to save time. Or you drop your question. Yes. Okay. Someone has Ruth Awodele. Can you go ahead? Ruth Awodele, go ahead. Followed
Thank you,
by
sir. Good afternoon, everyone. Please, can you hear me?
yes,
I can.
perfect.
Yeah, thank you so much for the session, sir. Please, I want to ask about Notebook LM. It's it's an AI app I'm just getting to know about, I think yesterday, and I got really interested. So I feel it's not a coincidence you taking us through it. So I want to ask about using Notebook LM in research writing. We have ChatGPT and some other things that we use, and we have some limitations like infatuation. Sometimes it will bring up things that you might not really have a relevant source for. So I want to ask about its limitation in research writing. Is it something that can write a comprehensive research? I'm not saying I want to copy everything is giving me and paste it, but I just want to know the limitation. How far can we use it?
I mean, it
Thank
goes
you.
very far. So it's from Google. It's using agentic research, and so the level of research, I mean, like you saw me there, I think I only put in about 10 sources. You can give it up to 50 sources. It will do deep dive research, And yeah, it's going to be limited to the degree of the questions that you ask it, so it can do very comprehensive. When I was clicking on the reports again, I just did it out of the box. When you click on the report function within it, you can specify what level of information, what areas you want to focus on, etc., etc. So it's a very powerful tool for that.
Thank you
And
very
then
much.
you're welcome. And just to add to that, like I said, one of the key things you said there, which is right, when you do it with ChatGTP or other tools, potentially they will bring in other information when they do it. So because you're in Notebook LM and you're only going to be using those sources, once you've got all of that information, can do a deep dive research into it, bring out the responses, and you can have a lot more confidence in the output. However, like all AI tools, the final responsibility lies with us to verify all the information that it provides us. Yeah. Cool. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Great.
No worries.
Akipelum, can you ask your question?
Yeah, yes, sir. Good afternoon,
Hey,
sir. Thank you
good
so
afternoon.
much. My question is about the cloud AI.
Yes.
I've been using it for a while, but at times it's as though one cannot predict what I will meet, because sometimes just a one-time use it to say what I'm requesting, if it wants to answer, it will go beyond my reach, and so I might not be able to get the response. It's already going for some time, or then just telling me that if by the time they will complete this thing, I will be outside of my limits and everything. So I don't
Usage.
know, is that its own peculiar limitation and which we have to work around, or there can be any better way to address that issue?
So basically what you're talking about is something like this, right? Hold on, you can't see this, my screen. I'll show you. It's a common issue. So there's a way that you can get around it, but you have to make sure you do as follows. So basically what you're talking about is usage, okay? In Claude, in there, you'll see the usage. And as you know, your usage every 5 hours, it resets. There's a number of things that you need to do to ensure that you limit the amount of tokens. Number one, right? Say, for example, let me see. When you are having a conversation with your AI and Claude, make sure that you don't have a very long conversation. Let me see. Right, this is a relatively long conversation, right? But it's not too much. Usually I say to people, have maybe 5, maybe no more than 10 or 15 back and forth in the same conversation, because each time it responds, what it's doing is reading everything that's gone before. That will use up your tokens. That will slow it down. You're using up its memory. So every time, if I ask you a question now to say, hey, what day is it? It's not only going to use these tokens, it's going to read everything else that we've discussed beforehand and use up all of those tokens just to answer that one question. So that's the reason why you're most probably having that issue. So my suggestion is to start making sure you have smaller focused conversations and just start a new chat each time, because now if I ask it the same question, what day is it today? The only token it is using is this and this. Do you see the difference? So that would be one of the tips. Also, if you're using connectors to connect anything, make sure you don't always have them on, so that you are getting, so you're not using up tokens. And then finally, make sure you're using Sonnet 4.6. If you're using any of the Opus bigger models, they burn a lot of usage credits as well. Okay, so those are just a couple of tips that I can give you that will help you to reduce your token usage. Hopefully that helped.
Fantastic. I'm learning very fast. I'm learning very fast. Thank you, Ade.
Thank you very much.
I appreciate it. Now, before you go,
Yes, sir. Yes,
because we are having campus team leads here with us, and we are going to have boot camp. I know it's going to be paid boot camp, and it's going to be probably for 3 days boot camp. We are not going to rush it, and you volunteer that for all our AI. When we talk of Africa Young Brain, that you are available for us. I cannot forget that. Please guys, can you help me? Who is stopping us there?
Thank you so much.
Just a minute.
Awesome.
Thank you very much.
No shaking.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
Good. So, on behalf of the team lead, I'm just telling you that, please, I know you are busy. It's a commitment that we have all agreed that we will give all universities in Africa, support university, and all the students on campuses. We are starting with 4 now. University of Ibadan, University of Ilorin, Federal University of Agriculture, Abeokuta, and Obafemi Awolowo University to start. And we will at least work to get 1,000 people that will attend the boot camp. When we are set, we will reach out to you so that we can have 3-day thorough training so that people can say we have made impacts on our campuses. So thank you so much. I appreciate your support. You are always there for me. You are willing to guide at every time. And during our recruitment process, I know what you did behind to ensure we have a robust platform for assessment of all our candidates. And I believe when we build robust, what do you call it now? Infrastructure for training, for all that, everybody will say, wow, we are actually contributing to young people in Africa. So on that note, I say thank you so much. God bless you, and God will favor you.
Amen. Amen.
I think you should all unmute yourself and celebrate Adeshokoya.
So please, I have a question.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you so very much, sir.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Olise, you have a question. Our
Yes.
guest speaker is actually waiting, and you know,
Thank you very
I
much,
think
sir.
around 3 a.m. in Canada now, or thereabout. So
Okay,
that's
sir.
why, and you know, the code is there also. She's already on the
But
call.
that's fine. Please let Olise go with his question. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Felicia. I'm very grateful. Okay, go ahead.
Thank you very much, Ma. So, sir, Mr. Ade, thank you so much for this session. I have a very general question. Yesterday I was listening to a podcast where there was a research from Stanford that by 2030 we are going to have about 90 million lost jobs due to AI, and we are going to have about 170 million new jobs created. But now then we are talking about people who have already graduated from university that did not study anything related to that. And we can say, for example, someone who studies statistics and data analysis can lose his job to AI due to the fact that AI can actually do something similar. So how do we regroup? Because I've just watched different podcasts and hear people say something about that, but they've not really said on how we are going to be part of this transient phase, how we are going to transition from not being part of the AI and actually being part of the 170 million, even if we are part of the 90 million that will lose our jobs. So how do we fit in? What are the things to do that now that we can't go back to university to study another 4 years course, something related to AI? So that's my question.
No, I think that's a really good and smart question. So I think at the moment, people are throwing lots of numbers around. Nobody really knows. So I've heard the 90 million, 170 million, and all of these different things. So I don't know what that means, okay? Because again, it's like, okay, if 90 million jobs are going to be created, when we say 170 million new roles are going to be created, what are we talking about? And you've also got to think about AI is getting more powerful. So not only what does AI, can AI do the the role of one person, it can do potentially a role of 10, 20, and then you've got robots. So again, I don't know. Here's what I would say though. And everyone hear me out and hear the thinking that goes into this. I think the problem is more of a West-based problem. Here's why I say that. And please, anybody, feel free to jump in and correct me. In Nigeria, there's a high unemployment rate already. Okay? There's not enough jobs for people who have graduated, and some of you would have graduated or potentially graduated with very high qualifications. But from my experience, from my family members, cousins, and everybody else, the opportunities are not always there. So I think AI now creates a different type of opportunity for Nigeria and for young minds like yourself, which is rather than necessarily just thinking about, well, number one, everything is going to be AI driven. The West is looking for lots of AI skill sets. So again, it opens up doors for many of you. I think you're going to start seeing global kind of visa-based programs for specialists in AI execution. Data analysis is still going to be needed for helping to build AI, the ability to build out AI solutions. It's all about providing solutions to problems, and AI can help with that. So my suggestion is take that drive and an initiative that's got you guys this far. Keep self-learning. Don't necessarily just think about, oh, how do I get into a job? Start thinking about how you can create those jobs. As campus leads as well, you're going to be in very key positions, which is you're going to have oversight of people with different personalities and different skill sets. The technology is there. And finally, I'll leave you with this. One of the things that we know about business or succeeding in anything, even if you go in to be a employee in a company, it's all about providing solutions to problems. I think Nigeria has a lot of problems, just like many places, and that provides many, many opportunities. So, and again, you can use these tools to analyze the problem, give it the context, and then come up with ways to become part of the solution. So that would be my guidance, because I'm not quite sure where the employment market is going to go globally. Hopefully that's helped.
Very, very much helpful. Thank you very much, sir. Sorry, sir. This is not a question. I am actually working on a project, so I don't know if I can link up with you on LinkedIn to just actually discuss something related to that.
Yeah, definitely. And part of the drive also is to start, and in line with Dr. Femi, what Dr. Femi is doing there is to start looking for those minds who have that drive of thinking about projects and seeing how we can support and help you, because ultimately whatever we can do on ground, starting from university, can spill out into the local community. Many of you in the university or some of the people you're going to lead are going to be the future entrepreneurs leading the top companies, go into government. In my mind, this is how we make Nigeria as great as it should be. It starts here. So yes, let's have those discussions. Yeah.
Thank you very, very much, sir. And thank you very much, Mrs. Felicia.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Felicia. Appreciate that as well. Also, thank you. Okay, Dr. Femi, over to you.
Thank you so much. On that note, I say thank you again, and looking forward to see you next
Likewise.
time.
Definitely, sir.
Bye.
Okay, bye-bye. Thank you. Thank you again, Felicia. Appreciate it. Bye-bye.
So we quickly move to the next. Yeah, we quickly move to the next session, the last session, right? And you pardon me, I will allow Felicia to talk more about herself. One thing that I can say about her is she's my friend. Two, she is actually available to support our initiatives. And I can say confidently that she is a mentor with African Young Brains. She is a woman of many parts, experts, advisor, and governance is, can I say governance now? Yes, I can say it. So I would like to introduce Alicia Lekon Salami to us, and she is going to share with us on becoming a great communicator, connectors, and community builder. I'm learning from her. So join me as I welcome Felicia. Thank you for accepting this invitation. Over to you.
Thank you. Good morning. It's very early hours of the morning here in Canada, but I'm glad to be here. I don't have too much more introduction because it's all about the leaders on the call today. So we'll just get right into it. I'm going to switch off my camera a bit just because I'm having some network connection issues and I don't want it to affect the audio. So hello to everyone. This is my face and I'm going to go off camera now. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about becoming a great communicator, connector, and community builder. And I want to start off by just saying congratulations to being community leaders, right? Not everybody is given that opportunity. So now you've been given this title, team leader. But, here's what nobody has told you when they handed you that role, is that the title gives you the authority, right? And your communication is what's going to give you the influence. So having the title is one thing, but it's nothing, right? So let that sink in. If you think about the best leaders that you've ever had, I bet it wasn't their title that made you respect them, right? It was how they made you feel. It was how they spoke to you, or how they saw you, or how they showed up for you, or how they were there for you, not just the team, but you as an individual, right? So that's what we're going to be talking about today. The 3 practical skills that will change how your team and the people around you, the communities that you've been called to serve, will experience you starting from today, right? So before we go anywhere, is my slides moving? I don't think so. I don't know why.
Yes, we can see your slide.
Okay. So before we go anywhere, I want you to think and believe something, right? That at the end of the day, it's not the loudest person in the room that leads well. And you don't have to also be the most experienced person. You don't need to have it all figured out. What you need is to be intentional as a leader, to be committed to the fact that you have been called to serve people, to be intentional about these 3 things that we're going to be talking about today: how you communicate, how you connect, and also what kind of community you're building. So right now you're on campus, right? Most of you. And there are people already around you there. All right. So I want you to believe that you have the power to make a difference in the places that you've been called to, right? And here's also what I want you to believe, that you might have some of these skills already, communicating, connecting, or building community, but you might not, but that it's learnable, right? Everybody that you've seen around you communicating well, that you admire, they probably practiced like 1,000 times and they've gotten feedback. They failed many times in front of people, but they kept going. So I want you to believe that you've been chosen to be leaders for a reason, and that you have what it takes to serve, right? So I'm going to be talking about high-level things today, but they're very important. What I call the 3 C's, and I think Mr. Oyomi already put the the C's in the title, which is communicate, connect, and community. But the one major goal that we're trying to get to is that we want the people around us to feel seen, heard, and valued, so that at the end of the day, we're able to impact the relationships that we're called to. Let me see why this slide is not working. So why does it matter for you guys as campus leaders to be particular and intentional about these things? I'm going to paint a picture here, which is, imagine that there's someone on your team. They showed up every single day. You know, they were always there for every meeting. They do their work. They never complain. They seem to be fine. And then one day they just disappear. You don't see them again. They don't show up again. Or they still show up, but they stopped engaging or contributing. You know, their energy just disappeared. And when you finally ask them what happened, they say, well, I didn't think anybody would notice. So you see how being leaders, we affect so many people on a daily basis, but we don't even realize that, right? And at the end of the day, if you were the leader that asked that question and that person said that, you'd probably be devastated, because you would ask yourself, why didn't I notice that, right? Or they just never said it, I just never paid attention, right? And so that's the hard truth, that at the end of the day, people disengage, or they leave organizations or leave teams or leave groups because they feel they don't belong, right? And as a campus leader, whether you realize it or not, you're setting the temperature for belonging every single day. Every single day that you're calling that meeting or that you're bringing people together, the way that you lead sets the temperature of how people feel. And how people feel determines how they contribute or not contribute, right? So every conversation that you're having, every reaction that you can make, every moment that you can define for the community and the people around you actually means much more than your words, or means much more than just your presence. And at the end of the day, you know that teams will mirror how you treat them. So if you are distracted as a leader, they will also be distracted. If you are disengaged, they will also be disengaged. You know, if you're truly present and they can see through that, you're authentically present, they will also show up, you know. So the question I want you to be asking yourself on a daily basis, and honestly, is, are you truly building a team, or you just feel like I'm a leader, so I'm the boss, right? Or are you just feeling like I'm a leader to complete tasks? They've given us assignments and goals, so I'm just completing them and making sure everybody's doing their own part. You know, it's much more than that at the end of the day. So I on this slide, I just want to say that you are the culture. So like I said, your team mirrors you. If you're giving it your best shot, they will also give it their best shot. And connections truly will create those opportunities. If you're that leader that connects, people will become the one, you will become the one that people trust, right? And at the end of the day, because people trust you and they feel safe around you as a leader, that community truly then starts building, and we can create retention. Retention meaning that people don't leave because they feel like they don't belong, right? And going to communication, that's part of your leadership skills, right? You can't lead what you can't communicate. If people don't understand you, or they don't feel confident in what you believe in and share, then you're not communicating with them. And when you're not communicating with them, you're not connecting with them as well, right? So let's get practical now. We're going to look at each of these sections individually. So when I say communicate, what do I mean? It's not just about talking. I actually would say less and mean more. I always say to my niece that God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth because he wants us to listen. And most of the time, we don't listen. Even I'm speaking to myself here now. We don't listen as much as we should. We just feel like, oh, I know this. I'm the leader because I know everything. No. You're the leader because you've been called to serve. So say less and mean more. So let's take a look at what that means. There are 4 things, right, that will immediately make you a stronger communicator. 1 will be listen first and speak second, what we just spoke about now. So before you respond, you want to pause and let people finish, not just their words, but their thoughts, right? Most people, and I used to be like this, like maybe 20 or 30 years ago, where most people are already formulating their reply before the other person is even done. So I guess my message to us today is don't be that person. You know, I've learned over the years not to be that person, and it's really served me well in my leadership experiences. And then on that communication as well is speaking with clarity and not complexity. You find that confusing messages will kill the momentum, right? If your team is confused about what you need, what they need to do, you know, at the end of it, that's not their failure. It's becomes yours as the leader, right? So trying to ensure that you are clear, not clever, is very important. And then thirdly, I would say close the loop. And what do I mean by that? Always, you have to close the loop. You know, you don't just ask, does that make sense? You want to, you know, when you say, does that make sense? It's a yes or no trap. And you actually want people to feel safe to contribute and communicate back to you and talk. You don't want to be that leader where everybody cannot share because they feel they will be shut down, right? So instead of you saying, does that make sense, and moving on to the next thing, you want to say things like, tell me more. What were you thinking about? What do you think? You know, what are you taking away from this? And that way you start making understanding visible. And the more people feel like they can contribute, the more they will actually contribute, right? And the 4th thing I wanted to say on that communication is adopting your style. You know, not everyone receives information the same way you do, or the same way the next person does. So some people need context. Some people need bullet points. You know, some people need a conversation. So over time, you get to know your people. And as campus leaders, you're probably having multiple groups that you're dealing with, and every group is different. So trying to read those groups and understanding what works for them or how they understand best then becomes your own super skill or your own superpower, you know. So that's what I'll say on the communicate. Are we following, or am I talking too fast or too slow? Please let me know. Am I too fast or too slow?
Yeah, phonema.
Okay, fantastic. So let's go to connect now. When you think about connection, what do you think about? You think about how those 2 things or 2 parts come together. And that's exactly what it is. How do we bridge people to the purpose that we've been called to serve? So as campus leaders, there's a purpose why you've been named campus leaders. How do you bring people into that purpose and bridge them in there? When you think about what do great connectors do as compared to what do weak connectors do? What I've learned over the years is that connection is not networking, right? Networking can be very transactional. Connection is actually relational. So think about that when you think about, am I connecting? It's not about did I say hi and this person said hello back? It's deeper than that, right? So great connectors do 5 things, and they do them intentionally and consistently. 1, they remember names and context, not just who you are, but what matters to you. And you can say that, oh, I'm having to meet 100 people every month. How am I going to be able to do that? You have to, over time, be able to figure out what are the things that, how do you learn and how do you absorb as a person, so that you are able to embrace those skills of learning people's name or remembering people's names. If you think about yourself too, you don't want someone to see you and say, oh yeah, what's that your name again? Oh, okay. Oh, I can't remember your name. Did you tell me your name before? You can think that that's a very simple thing, but that's a very personal thing for people. So working on being able to remember names and context in which that you meet people, you will be surprised how powerful that is. And then the second thing great connectors do is follow up. They don't just follow through, they follow up. What does that mean? There's a difference. Follow up means that you make it a commitment that you get back to that person and that you close the loop. So it goes back to what we said under communication, that you close the loop. Follow through means that, you just make sure that you give them the paper. They asked for the paper, but you don't realize or didn't know what they eventually did with the paper, or did the paper meet the document meet their need, or do they still need help? So follow up, don't just follow through. That's one of the skills of a great connector. And then the third thing that a great connector does is they introduce people generously. They make themselves the bridge. They make themselves the bridge to connect people. If somebody needs something and you know somebody that knows something, connect them. That's why you've been chosen as a leader, so that you can pour out even your network to the people and the communities that you're leading and that you're building. So even work on yourself to gain the assets of building relationships, so that you have people that you can refer to people to. And it's a loop, right? What you do for others will come back to you some way, somehow. So introduce people generously. Show genuine curiosity. And how do you show curiosity? Ask people questions. Ask people questions they actually want answers to. Ask those questions, because you might feel like nobody's talking, so everything is okay. But everything is not always okay. So as a leader, especially as a community leader, you want to be curious about what's going on through people's mind in their lives. This is without being overtly intruding into their privacy, but you get what I mean in terms of be genuinely curious about how you can serve, how you can help, what people need, and how they can contribute more. And then finally, good connectors are always present. I have a 22-year-old son, and most of the time he's like, we try to find a way to connect in terms of maybe go out for dinner once a month. And we have to be intentional about my phone is in my bag, because it's very easy for me to just get carried away scrolling on Instagram or whatever, and then I don't realize the purpose for which we came here, right? So good connectors are always present. They're fully present. Your eyes are open, your ears are open. And, if you're here for a 30 minutes meeting, you're here for a 30 minutes meeting, your phones are down, right? So you can think that these are very simple things, but they're very important things, right? Because people see through people. And at the end of the day, you don't want to be that leader that is termed to be a weak connector, that you're just collecting people's contacts without caring or you don't even reach out to people, or you only reach out to them when you need them for something. You want to call them for a meeting. We have to go and clear some chairs here. We need to go and clean this hall here. That's the only time you call people, right? You also don't want to be that leader who is a weak connector because you are even in competition with the people that you're serving instead of finding ways to collaborate with them. You're just performing as a leader. People see those things. They know if you're a fake leader or a real leader. So I mean, these are very simple things, but they're very important things that I want you to take away from today. I know we all know the saying that says that your network is your net worth. But it's only your net worth if you invest in it like it matters. If you're not just doing it to create clout, right? So it goes back to that intentionality. You have to be very intentional about how and why you're connecting, right? So let's go to the third section, which is community. You remember what we said, people don't leave people don't leave organizations, they leave leaders, right? And why do they leave leaders? Because if those leaders don't make them feel welcome or feel like they belong, then they feel like they don't belong. And when you feel like you don't belong to something, you move on, right? So you want to build communities where people truly feel like they belong, right? And there are three things or three pillars to building a thriving community. The first is what we call psychological safety. And what does psychological safety means? The word safety means I feel safe. But psychologically, I feel safe when I'm able to share my true feelings with you as a group, as a leader. Even when I make mistakes, I don't fear that I will be judged. It is a learning moment for me, right? People psychologically safe environments, people speak without fear. Mistakes are treated as a learning moment. Disagreements are welcome. The people don't always have to agree with you because you are the leader, right? So disagreements are welcome, they're not punished. If your team never challenges you as a leader, that's not respect, that's fear. If people are not able to say, well, I agree with you to some extent, but why don't we look at it this way? So when you reflect as a leader, you want to tell yourself the truth of how true is it that people in my group or people that I lead feel like they can share with me and share with me safely. So remember being intentional about creating a psychologically safe environment as you lead. The second pillar for building this thriving community is what I call shared identity. It's a clear purpose that everyone owns, not just understand, but owns. There's a difference between understand and owns, right? So it's the common values, not just the what do you call the common tasks. So when people know why they're there or why they're in that community or in that group, they show up differently. So your role as the leader is to ensure that everybody identifies why they're in that group and how they're valued part of that group so that they can keep showing up and showing up well, right? And the third pillar will be celebration. Culture is a big deal. In my corporate work, that's one of the things that I do on almost a daily basis, helping organizations understand that culture can eat strategy for breakfast. So if you don't pay attention to the culture that you are breeding in a group, in a community, in an organization, you will find that you fail. And you fail for reasons that might not necessarily be tangible. So culture is very important. And the culture of celebration is one of the pillars of a thriving community. So in whatever groups and communities that you're building, you want to normalize celebrating wins, whether they're big or they're small. People need to feel seen for their contribution. A simple, I noticed what you did there and it mattered. It can seem like a simple sentence, but it makes a difference. And it costs you nothing as a leader, right? To say those things. So I just want to really implore you as you go on being leaders that you're very intentional about this, really tiny things, communicating clearly, connecting intentionally, and building community consistently. Yeah, that's what I call this 3C leader. And that's who I want you to become after today's class, with intention, right? So just to summarize what we have said, 3 things: communicating, connecting, and building community. For communication, I want you to remember to listen first, speak with clarity, check for understanding, and give feedback often. Give feedback, but also get feedback. A lot of leaders just feel like, I'm the leader. They don't even stop to say, how am I doing? How can I serve better? But they don't even stop. That's outside, but then do they even stop and reflect? That's internal, of how they can become better leaders, right? And then connect. Like I said, know your team, not just by their name. Know them deeply. Create context for everybody that you're leading, because everybody is different and their needs are also different. So as the leader, your role is being able to identify how you can serve individually and collectively, right? And bridge people to each other, bridge people to people. Remind yourself that you're a connector. But how do you connect when you don't have the resources to connect? So that's where your own personal development as a leader comes. How are you growing yourself? How are you growing your network so that you have the resources and the connection to be able to bridge people to each other? How are you creating access for others? And that's kind of like connected to bridging people to each other. How are you building trust consistently? These are all things that is easy for us to forget, but with intentionality, we remind ourselves, and that's how we become better leaders, right? And then on building community, create that belonging, protect that psychological safety that we talked about, celebrate contributions, and model the culture that truly wins. If you think about, football clubs or sports in general, they have that culture, the culture of connection, of celebrating, and that camaraderie that eventually keeps them together even when they fail or they lose a match or they lose a game. They're still together because they're still team. And when you think about community, think about that picture in your mind. That whether you're Arsenal, for example, or Man U or whatever, it doesn't matter whether they've lost the match. They're still that club. Think about Arsenal and 22 years of not winning, but now winning. Do you get what I mean? That's community. So when you think about building, think about that, right? So before I close, I really just want to give you 3 things to do this week, not tomorrow. I mean, not next month, this week. And it's where you start practicing these things, you become a better leader, right? So the first thing is, I want you to commit to yourself that you'll have one real conversation with a team member or with a group member this coming week that you're stepping into. And you can say, oh yeah, I have conversation with people every day. No, I want you to commit to have a real and intentional conversation. Not just any conversation like, oh, so did you do this thing? Or you're asking for a task update, not small talk. A real conversation. What does that mean? Ask them how they're actually doing. Then listen, remember, listen without an agenda, and the more you practice these things and the more you incorporate it into how you lead, you'll be surprised the better you become as a leader. Because if you consistently practice these things, check yourself in 1 year time, you will be a different leader, right? And then the other task that I'm giving you, or the challenge that I'm giving you, is to make one meaningful introduction between two people in your network this coming week. What does that mean? Think of two people in your world, in your group, in your community that you're leading, who should know each other or who could help each other, right? And connect them. Be that bridge. That's a real leader's move, right? So if you have notes, take those notes that this is number one thing. I'm going to do this at least once this week that is coming. And then the third thing is, I want you to take one action that builds belonging. Maybe it's recognizing someone publicly in one of the meetings that you have. Maybe it's creating space for honest dialogue. Maybe your old meetings have always been, this is the agenda. Okay, so today, okay, item 1, item 2, this is what we're doing. Okay, that's the end of the meeting. No. Create space for honest dialogue. You guys chit chat properly, right? So, maybe it's showing up with more presence than you did last week, right? Remembering what we said presence means, right? So let that be one action this week, because what I've learned over the many years of leading is that you will not be remembered for the task that you completed, right? Or the meetings that you ran, or the goals that you eat even, right? You'll be remembered for how you made people feel. Did you make them feel seen? Did you make them feel valued? Did they feel like they belonged? So the leaders that truly change lives, I've experienced a lot of leaders in my life, and I can count on the tip of my hands, the 3 of them, that if they wake me up today and say, who are your best leaders so far, I will pick them hands down any day. And the only reason, when I think about it, is because they were the ones, they were not necessarily the ones with the biggest titles, but they were the ones that believed in me, showed me that they believed in me and truly wanted me to be a better person, right? So really, that's what I'm going to say. I want you to go and be that leader today, the leader that truly communicates, connects, and is passionate and intentional about building thriving communities, right? So that's kind of like it from me. I'm going to open up for questions and answers if you have any. Thanks for listening. This is not intended to be a speech, but to just be an encouragement to you. You're already doing great. That's why you've been named leaders. But I want you to be greater by these small things that you will do starting today. Mr. William.
Thank you very much for this wonderful session, eye-opener. I've learned a lot personally, and the challenge you've put across to every one of us is clear. For me, I will reach out to 1 or 2 of my team leaders, and I will also reach out to 1 or 2 of my mentors, so that to be reverse assignment, or if I can put it that way. Thank you so much, and I think every one of us on this course will be able to celebrate Felicia for what she has done. Let's please do that. If possible, you can unmute yourself to appreciate her. We are privileged to have her.
Thank you, Ma.
Thank you, Ma. Thank you, Ma. You're most welcome. You're most welcome. And I pray that you actually take it and use it. I've tried to keep it very simple in terms of the things that you need to remember, right?
We are going to practice it. And I'm very sure you ask me once in a while how are we doing, and I will give you a positive feedback. Also, I'm sure that you are interested in helping us, not just one of being part of African Young Brain, and see the result of what you have invested in. When you see campuses being impacted, lives being transformed, and the people actually taking on leadership role. As we are here now, fortunately enough for us, your part of your sessions is live on our African Young Brain YouTube. So I just believe that people will be able to also go there to look at it and listen to a replay of the session. Thank you so much. I'm very grateful. And I want every one of us on this call to take the assignment serious. I will ask one or two of you, if not everyone. And it's important for you to be able to identify one person that you have been able to reach out between now and next week. Let's say between now and Friday, when we are likely going to meet at the University of Ibadan, and then share your experience with us. And if there are things that probably I need to also follow in building the community, I am available and I'm willing to support. So on that note, we'll open the floor for your questions. She is available to answer them. Who is the first person to go? There's someone I've been looking for, and oh, she's not here now. Okay, who is the first to go? Oluwatobi Treasure, go ahead.
Okay. Thank you so much, ma'am, for this session. I actually have a question. Like, I would like to ask, what do you do when you give it your all to ensure teamwork as a leader, but some people still default? Like, what do you do in that kind of situation?
Yeah, that's a very good question, because the most common experience that leaders, especially new leaders, have is what you just shared. Um, and it's actually a good sign that you're trying, right? For you to even notice that people are not interested. The truth is that people test whether you're genuine before they open up, right? So they probably have had leaders who performed interest and disappeared. So you have to keep being consistent. That's my answer, really. You have to be consistently serving, right? And keep showing up. One conversation will not build trust, but 10 will, right? So don't perform the connection, practice it. Eventually they will believe you and they will mean it, because you yourself do. But then also take one of the tips from truly understanding the people that you're working with, because why are they not interested? You might be able to find out, but it goes back to that one-on-one connection where you can. Because when you connect with people one-on-one, you understand their own specific needs, you're able to meet it. So think about making genuine connection one-on-one with 10 out of 15 people in a group. Eventually, by the time the group comes together, they've all been connected with, and they now feel a sense of personal purpose and interest. And that can change a lot of things, right? So most leaders fail because they kind of like look at everybody as the group, but looking at everybody as the group and not that these individuals make the group is a big what they call it is one of the biggest reasons why groups are not truly effective, or might not be truly effective. So I hope that answers your question in a way. Who are those people that are not interested, or that you're
Oh,
feeling that are
yes,
not
ma'am.
interested? Do you even know why? Yeah. Okay.
Thanks so much, ma'am.
You're welcome. Mr. Oyemi, are you still there? I think there might be a few more people that have questions.
Yes. Hello. Can we have Okoyemi?
Okay, yes, thank you very much, ma'am. So my
No.
question is, okay, currently I'm actually working for someone, not just me and some other people, but it's this kind of person that whenever we are like going for a certain program and we're like trying to make the plans and all of that, he always wants to do what he wants to do. Like he never listens to us. He just like give instructions and just want us to do it the way he wants it. And for some time now we've been having issues with him because there was even a time I tried to like speak out that this is a team thing. I mean, you have to listen to us, know our own view, and see to it what we are saying. But he doesn't listen. So my question is, for someone like that, how can because what we're actually doing together is something that is helping me as a person. So I don't just want to leave the whole gathering like that. But then at the other hand, he's not listening. So how can I help that person? I mean, I don't know. How best can I still be in the team and still be effective? I don't know if you understand
Again,
me.
I think that's you remember that we spoke about people being different. So there can be 10 people in a group, but 2 of them have a different personality from 3 of them, and then 3 of them have a different outlook from 4 of them, and then 4 of them have a different reason or understanding of why they're there from the rest of them, right? So it goes back to having that individual connection. So I would say with that type of person, he doesn't listen, maybe within the group. But one thing that you might want to try is have a one-on-one with him so that both of you can reason as to why his thoughts are what his thoughts are. Because his thoughts at the end of the day is what is defining what his actions are. There's something going through his mind, or there's a feeling that he has about the leader or the group that is making him feel like, I don't want to listen to these people, or these people don't know what they're doing, or whatever it is that he believes. You don't know it now because you've not had that conversation with him. So one of the skills of a great leader as well is being humble enough to be the smaller one to get somebody's point of view. So maybe take him out for lunch or whatever. Just say that I want to have a one-on-one conversation with you. When can we meet? Maybe go to the school cafeteria or take a walk or whatever. I know that he's not your boyfriend, but you get what I mean. Have some one-on-one personal time with him, and understand. Maybe he's trying to communicate something that the group is not even listening to, right? But as a result, you're feeling like he just wants to do things his own way. You want to understand what are the deciding factors around his own way, and you'll be surprised that he will share some things with you, and you'll be like, "Oh, I didn't even see it that way. Oh, is that what you think? Oh, no, that's not what it is. Oh, it's you'll be able to clarify stuff." And for someone like that as well, I don't know this person personally, but some people's personality, if they're not involved, then they want to divert things. So maybe he's just seeking even to contribute, but he's not feeling like he's being welcome. So he's then doing his own thing. You don't know what it is until you have that one-on-one conversation. So that would be my first step of really trying to get to him on a one-on-one basis and understand how you can help, how you can support, what is it that he's trying to contribute, and why is it that he thinks what he thinks the way he thinks it. Right? I hope that helps. Or is
Yeah,
it have you tried one-on-one with him and it's not?
the thing is, the team is the owner of the organ. How will I put it? Is the one that like established the whole thing. Like is the team leader. So I don't know.
Oh, I see what you mean.
He's
he's the one leading the whole group. So you were
Yeah,
the lead.
yes, ma'am.
So in that case, what I would say is, it still goes back to the one-on-one, but maybe in a very different way. It might be more in the way of trying to open up by receiving feedback from him, but then using that as an opportunity to give feedback to him, right? And what do I mean by that? You cannot control what's above you, but you can manage what's above you. So if he's the authority, you want to go with him, you want to go to him with the clarity of having the best interest of the group at hand. I want to ask for feedback on XYZ. By the way, I would also like to give feedback without reporting anybody or trying to say somebody said this. You're just giving your genuine feedback, right? Because you want to try as much as possible to ensure that you avoid breeding a toxic environment. Because from what you're saying, I can sense some level of toxicity based on his leadership style, right? But the truth is, you and I know now that even he cannot necessarily achieve much without connecting truly to people and understanding that the people that work with him or her also have a role to play in the success of the organization. So without being rude, you want to get and give feedback, right? If you have to find a way to make that happen and make it happen respectfully, right? Does that help you in any way?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much, ma'am.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Can we have roots? Can we have roots?
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, Ma, for the class. Please, I have a concern that I want to raise in form of a question. How do you help people cultivate a growth mindset? Sometimes you have people on your team that, okay, you feel this is the vision, this is what you're running together with. And someone just have, maybe one or two person just have a different opinion. And because of a different opinion that you cannot reconcile with maybe the vision of the administration or the vision of the particular project you want to achieve, they tend to draw back because they are not seeing what the house is saying, like maybe the general people are saying, and they are holding to their claim. And you feel that those opinions are not going to be productive and is not going to help achieve the goal. So how do you still get them along, even though it seems there's this they are not willing, there's a part for them to play, but because they are not seeing, they are not keen into the vision, they are not fulfilling their part, and it's kind of dragging the vision back. So how do you handle that kind of thing, and how do you generally help people cultivate a growth mindset? That's my question, ma'am.
That's a really good question, because a growth mindset is very important to so many things, right? So as are you the leader of the group, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So I think the truth is that we cannot give people a growth mindset. We can't just do one training or a single workshop and then they become they have the growth mindset. The framework that I usually use is something that I call grows. And the G is giving permission to be imperfect, right? So you're going back to the previous question, at the end of the day, the number one reason people stay stuck in a fixed mindset is the fear of judgment, really. That's what I found, that if you peel down what's the main reason why people are not open to a growth mindset, is because they feel like, oh, if I do this thing and I fail, I will be judged, so they don't want to try new things because they're afraid of looking incompetent, so they won't even ask questions because they're afraid of looking ignorant, right? Or they won't admit their mistakes because they're afraid of the consequences. So you as the leader, it goes back to, this is your opportunity to set that psychological safety standard that we spoke about earlier. You become more vulnerable and share your own failures and your own struggle or your own learning gaps openly, and that then gives everyone else the room and the permission to do the same. And the result of that over time is, that's how people start growing, because you've now made it comfortable in that environment for people to know that not everybody knows everything and we're all learning every day, right? So that's the G, right? And then really the R is, and I don't want to teach this whole framework again now, so I'm trying to see how to answer you in a very simple way. But the R is reframing how you respond to that failure, even how you as the leader respond to failure, and then that helps the people within the team as well. So that you're ensuring that you're building a community or a group that is not being defensive or assigning blame or focusing on what is wrong all the time, right? It goes back to that skill of being curious as a leader, and moving with agility, I would say. And then the O in that grow is the open up development conversations regularly, right? So in corporate organizations, a lot of companies have what they call lunch and learn. So lunch and learn, maybe once a month, they are having a program where everybody is learning something new, or somebody is coming to present something that they know that other people don't know, right? And so over time, these things can seem like very little things, but over time, the people in that group or in that community start becoming comfortable with having that growth mindset, right? And then the W is going back to when we talked about celebration culture, right? Watching your praise strategy as the leader. And there's research that backs this up, that most leaders overlook the tools of praise or celebration, So the more that you're rewarding and you're showing positive praise for people that are learning new things or growing, the more you are seeding into that community and that environment that we're all growing together, and then the growth mindset becomes just a normal part of the way you guys operate, right? And the S is stretch, right? Stretching people deliberately and intentionally, because at the end of the day, growth doesn't happen in the comfort zone, right? But it also doesn't happen in the panic zone. So stretch is kind of like the sweet spot where you're pulling yourself as a leader, you're showing that we can do more, and then people are then seeing the benefit of it, and then the group follows suit as well. So at the end of the day, how do you answer your question directly? How do you encourage the growth mindset? Starts with you. How are you showing that you also have the growth mindset, right? I know it's a long answer, but I hope it answers your question.
Ma, very well, ma. Thank you very much, ma.
You're welcome.
Great. Can we have Ebubechi? And that will be the last question. Ebubechi, over to you.
Okay, good afternoon, ma. Thank you so much for the amazing talk. I learned a couple of things, and my question is on the part of the talk where you spoke about connecting with people. If you go out to an event or you're in a place where different people have different skill sets or different interests, or they're in different industries than you, how do you, what kind of conversation starters, or how do you make conversation? Do you make valuable intentional connections with them when they are in vastly and starkly different industries, lines of work from you?
I think that that's even the first step, is that the diversity is the beauty of life. The different things that we have to offer ourselves, or that we have, is what makes life what it is. So for me, that's a what you just described is even the strength in the first place, wanting to know about what other people have to offer, or what other people can share with you that you don't have, and vice versa, what you can share with them that they don't have. I think most people approach connection thinking that, what can I get from this person? But what I've found over the years is that great connectors approach it thinking, what can I bring to this person? Right. And that one shift really changes everything. Remember what we said in the first slide was that connection is not a transaction. It's not networking or just collecting contacts. It's a deliberate act of making another human being feel like they're seen and they're heard and they're valued. So if you go into a networking big event and there's 20 people there and they're from different professions, like you said, you're not going in there because you just want to collect all their phone numbers or all their names. You're going in there because you want to genuinely learn something new. And if you go with that mindset, you will find that you don't even need a conversation starter to start a conversation, because it's going to be so organic, and so you're showing genuine interest in that person, right? That's the first wall that we need to break. And once we break it, we find that what we call networking in this age and time becomes so easy, because it's almost like you're sitting in your living room watching a drama series with your friend, and you guys are talking about what you're seeing on TV. Do you get what I mean? You have to keep it that simple. And that's the way people will be able to feel comfortable around you and trust you, even though they don't know you yet. And when they feel like they can trust you, they will share. You will also be free to share as well, right?
Thank you so much, man. Thank you for the answer.
Yeah.
Wow. Thank you so much.
My pleasure, anytime.
Yes, I think it's good for us to celebrate our guest speaker. It's been wonderful. Let's do that. Unmute yourself and celebrate how you can use the.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, man. God bless you.
Thank you. God bless you too. I'm glad to be here.
Thank you, ma'am.
The time difference didn't make it that easy, but I'm glad that I didn't sleep off and I woke up. And
Thank you. I was afraid, and thank you so much for this massive support. So on that note, let me sincerely appreciate every one of you on this call. Is massive. On behalf of African Young Brain, especially the planning team, I would like to express my heartfelt appreciation for your invaluable support, for your contribution, for the advice that has really helped. And I also want to use this opportunity to appreciate other guest speakers. I thank them generously for sharing knowledge, experiences, insights, and practical wisdom. You can see we have learned over the months, started May 2nd, and we've had 8 guest speakers. I've also been able to share 1 or 2 things with us. It has been a time of learning, and we can all say that from the presentation so far, we have a lot of things to implement. We have a lot of assignments to carry out. And we also need to understand that excellence is very, very key. need to grow personally and also grow our chapters within the university. And then we need to also focus on improving. We cannot learn all these things and then we remain the same. No, that will not be good. So I plead with us, all the campus team lead, please reflect on what you have learned. So to our campus team leaders, thank you for your dedication. Some of you have been so consistent. Thank you for your coordination. Thank you so much, all for our advice, guidance. Some of you reach out to me, and then unwavering support. I'm impressed with some campus team leader. Let me single out the campus team leaders from the University of Ilorin. They've even had their planning meetings, and they sent their minutes of meeting to me, asking for guidance and suggestion. So it shows that some people are already active, and that's very, very commendable. So thank you, University of Ilorin. Your time, your sacrifice, and your passion, I cannot but appreciate them. And I believe that we will improve, we do more. So the success of this onboarding training is clear indication of what is ahead of us. There are a lot of things that you have to do on your own. There are a lot of ideas that perhaps you want to implement. Don't delay. Please plan very well. Share with us and engage other people. And you will even be surprised that you are going to impact more life than you expected. So I deeply appreciate you. I appreciate partnership within African Young Brains and also with other people on this call. We have a program ahead of us, which you are all aware of. We have approval of African Development Bank team. The education and skill units, they are coming because they want to help us. It's not just virtual meetings, physical meeting. And I expect everyone on this call to help us mobilize within your campus as many that can join physically. Please encourage them to be there. But most especially those of us that we are from University of Ibadan, please do everything within your power to mobilize, especially final year postgraduate students to be there. Yesterday I was at the University of Ibadan and I interacted with key leaders there. So I believe by Monday, Tuesday, you will hear more from the preparation so far. And I'm glad that Timileyin on this call. Timileyin from
Yes, sir. Yes,
thank
sir.
you. Thank you
Yes, sir.
for your work, for the underground work you are doing at the University of Ibadan. Please, by Monday, Tuesday, I know we'll farm up the venue, all the arrangements, and by Thursday, everything will be set. Try as much as possible to publicize, share the flyer. And some of us, perhaps, that we are skeptical. Don't be skeptical. Within this month, we've achieved something massive with all these our guest speakers. I'm very, very sure some of you, you are surprised that this is exactly what we have in mind. There are a lot of things ahead of us. Let's work together. Let us do it together. So thank you for making a difference. Thank you for being part of African Young Brain. Thank you so much because you also volunteer to help us in supporting you to become impactful leader, achiever, groundbreaker, future maker. And I believe that in the next 1 or 2 years, you will be one of the speakers that will share your experience, how African Young Brain has been tremendous help in building you up, in helping you to also connect And please, you have the flyer for all the guest speaker. Reach out to them on LinkedIn, connect with them. Do you understand? But please don't pressure them. Don't ask for something that they will block you. Some people will ask for what is not even core things that might not contribute to their growth, that might not help their leadership. Please ensure that you connect with them and they are available to guide you. Once you mention you are from African Young Brain, I am very sure they will expect you to behave as African Young Brain member or leaders. And I wish every one of us the very best. So with sincere gratitude, I'm saying thank you to you. And thank you. God bless you. So on this note, we end the onboarding training. For those that successfully attended 4 classes, what I mean are 4 speakers. You can see 4 speakers. You are going to have certificate of attendance as a team leader. And then we'll now start the induction proper. That means what I mean by induction is that we'll come to your campus or virtually do it, where all the campus team leaders will be announced. We have the flyers that will contain the names of the campus team leaders and then their position. We will fine-tune everything within short period. Just bear with us. So on that note, I'd come back again to say thank you to Felicia for being our guest speaker, sharing with us, and we appreciate you. I will want us to unmute ourselves and then interact. And on that note, we close this onboarding training session. Thank you.
Thank you. God bless you. Have a great weekend.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, much. Nice meeting
Thank you, sir.
everyone.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. We really
Thank you,
appreciate
sir.
it.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much
Do
for the
your very best in your
opportunity,
campus
sir.
games. OAU, Ebubechi, Chinyere, Philemon, Timileyin, Adetoyi, Adekunle, Faith Adelusi, thank you for being part of this. Janet Sekundayo, Joshua Adebi, Ken Dave, thank you. Ken Dave Fadu La, I think you are from Ilorin. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir. I'm coming along, sir.
Yeah, Elisa, Evan, Oluwakemi Opeyemi, Oluwatobi Treasure, Oluwatomiwa Ayobami, Ruth Awodele, thank you so much. I appreciate you all. Let's go to our campuses and make difference. Bye.
Thank you,
Thank you,
sir.
sir. Bye.
Bye.